Hi everyone. So it's been a long time no talk, and this is a really weird angle, so I really hope y'all can see me and it's good, because I'm filming on my iPad and I'm trying something a little different from the last video. So in this video I wanted to cover PL 89-522, or otherwise known as Public Law 89-522. And I wanted to cover this law because Amazon, good old Amazon, we know how bad and horrible Amazon is, right? Well, Amazon is breaking this law. And this law, well, let me just explain this law to you. We will go through it bit by bit, okay? Here we go. Do that so that you all can also read the screen, but I'm also going to have voiceover read the screen because I'm not sitting here and reading this all out loud. So, this law basically has to do with books and what you can do with them in regards to blindness. So, here we go.
To amend the acts of Enact Public Law 89522. Enact Heading Level 3. To amend the acts of March 3, 1931, and October 9, 1962, relating to the furnishing of books and other materials to the blind so as to authorize the furnishing of such books and other materials to other handicapped persons. Be it enacted by the Senate and House of Representatives of the United States of America in Congress assembled, that the act entitled An Act to Provide Books for the Adult Blind, approved March 3, 1931, as amended, to U.S. Sec. That the act entitled An Act to Provide Books for the Adult Blind, approved March 3, 1931, as amended, to U.S. C. 135A, 135B, is amended to read as follows, that there is authorized to be appropriated annually to the Library of Congress, in addition to appropriations otherwise made to said library, such sums for expenditure under the direction of the Librarian of Congress as may be necessary to provide books published either in raised characters, on sound reproduction recordings, or in any other form, and for purchase, maintenance, and replacement of reproducers for such sound reproduction recordings, for the use of the blind and for other physically handicapped residents of the United States, including the several states, territories, insular possessions, and the District of Columbia, all of which books, recordings, and reproducers will remain the property of the Library of Congress but will be loaned to blind and to other physically handicapped readers certified by competent authority as unable to read normal printed material as a result of physical limitations, under regulations prescribed by the Librarian of Congress for this service. In the purchase of books in either raised characters or in sound reproduction recordings, the Librarian of Congress, without reference to the provisions of Section 3709 of the Revised Statutes of the United States, 41 U.S. C. 5, shall give preference to non-profit-making institutions or agencies whose activities are primarily concerned with the blind and with other physically handicapped persons, in all cases where the prices or bids submitted by such institutions or agencies are, by said librarian, under all the circumstances and needs involved, determined to be fair and reasonable. Sec. 2. A. The Librarian of Congress may contract or otherwise arrange with such public or other nonprofit libraries, agencies, or organizations as he may deem appropriate to serve as local or regional centers for the circulation of 1. Books, recordings, and reproducers referred to in the first section of this act, and 2. Musical scores, instructional texts, and other specialized materials referred to in the Act of October 9, 1962, as amended, to U.S. C. 135A1, under such conditions and regulations as he may prescribe. In the lending of such books, recordings, reproducers, musical scores, instructional texts, and other specialized materials, preference shall at all times be given to the needs of the blind and of the other physically handicapped persons who have been honorably discharged from the armed forces of the United States. B. There are authorized to be appropriated such sums as may be necessary to carry out the purposes of this section. Sec. 2. The act entitled An Act to Establish in the Library of Congress a library of musical scores and other instructional materials to further educational, vocational, and cultural opportunities in the field of music for blind persons, approved October 9, 1962, to U.S. C. 135A1, is amended to read as follows, that a. The Librarian of Congress shall establish and maintain a library of musical scores, instructional texts, and other specialized materials for the use of the blind and for other physically handicapped residents of the United States and its possessions in furthering their educational, vocational, and cultural opportunities in the field of music. Such scores, texts, and materials shall be made available on a loan basis under regulations developed by the librarian or his designee in consultation with persons, organizations, and agencies engaged in work for the blind and for other physically handicapped persons. B. There are authorized to be appropriated such amounts as may be necessary to carry out the provisions of this Act. Approved July 30, 1966. Sec. 1, 80 Stat. 330. 89th Congress. July 30th, 1966. Separator.
And why specifically are they breaking this law? Well, you see, I've been told by a couple of authors, I'm not going to mention names because I didn't ask if I could put their names in this video, that Amazon will not let them publish or place. I don't think you would be publishing them, but we'll go with place their books on Bookshare. And it is a problem. And why is this a problem? Well, do you remember section 2 of PL 89-522? If not, please go back in the video and watch the part where I covered section 2. Specifically, I want you to look at section 2, part A. This law basically describes how the Librarian of Congress can authorize other public and nonprofit libraries to be able to provide materials for blind and visually impaired people. And the reason that Bookshare comes into this is because Bookshare is a nonprofit lending library. That's right, Bookshare is a nonprofit library that was started by its parent company, BeanTech. And their main goal is to give blind people access to reading materials. Basically, everything that PL 89522 describes is what Bookshare does. It provides music scores, it provides learning materials, including textbooks, and they're all lent out to people. And Amazon will have you believe that it does not break this law because you can just get Amazon Kindle and read the book that way. And that can pose a problem, especially if Kindle doesn't support a function that Bookshare might support, like highlighting of text in a book, or being able to use a braille display, or being able to make the print larger or darker or a different color, or change the background so that the print shows up more. I have no idea if Kindle actually supports any of these things. I'm just explaining to you what Bookshare itself supports. I don't use Kindle because when I tried it, it was very inaccessible to me as a blind person who uses voiceover, which is what you heard reading that law. So I don't know if that has improved, but if that hasn't improved, Kindle is not supporting everyone. And also Kindle is not a lending library. It is not a public library. It is not a private library. It is not a nonprofit library. Kindle's not a library, Amazon. Quit telling your authors that. Also, to all the authors out there, I want you to know that even if you are not in the United States and you have a book published by Amazon in the United States, this law applies to you. You. Right there, you. You. It applies to you. And I don't think that authors and readers should be letting Amazon get away with this. I think that authors should stop publishing on Amazon and that readers should stop reading books on Kindle. Maybe even Audible. Because Amazon's not playing nice. Why should everybody else? I did at one point reach out to Bookshare because I wanted to see if authors could, in fact, put their books on Bookshare even if they were published with Amazon, and Bookshare did, in fact, tell me that they could. So, guys, you can still put your books on Amazon. You are the copyright holder. You're not the publisher, but you're the copyright holder. You're the author. I don't necessarily think that you need Amazon's permission to do this. Anyway, I will leave everything linked down below. I will link to Bookshare if I can find the page where it says anything about Public Law 89522. I will link it. I will link the National Library Services link to PL 89522 down in the description below, because that is actually where I got the information in the clip that you just saw. And credit to them, I actually, in the beginning of this video, had planned to use the NLS Talking Book announcement that you find in any old NLS recording, and to my shock and horror, no blind person had ever recorded this announcement, so I couldn't use it, but I really wanted to use that as the intro here, because I felt like it was appropriate, but I couldn't because no one had ever recorded it, and I don't know why. Blind people record all kinds of weird things, but none of us recorded the NLS Talking Book announcement, and I'm really disappointed about that. I've looked for it for months, and I couldn't find it. Anyway, that's all I have for you today. I hope that you like this video enough to give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're brand new. Please ring that notification bell. Make sure it's set to all notifications. Leave a comment if you have something to say, ideas, questions, suggestions. Like my Facebook page, it is Steph Surratt Books. Follow me on Twitter, it is Steph Surratt. Join my Patreon community. We'd love to have you. I have 2 Patreons as of recording this video, and I would love to have more people join my community. There's 3 tiers that you can choose from, and I think that they're pretty much affordable, but if you would like to pay more, I don't think Patreon will allow you to pay less, but if you would like to pay more, please let me know and I can add another tier. I think I'll let you guys choose the next tier if we ever add one. And follow me on Twitter, it is Steph Surratt. And you can also tip me now on Twitter, so if you like what I tweet and you want to send me a little bit of cashy cash, maybe a little bit of spare change, you can do that. And you can also email me at stephsurrattbooks@gmail.com. And I will see you next time.